Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Best PT Podcast. On this episode, we're going to take a break from study material and we're going to talk about something called insurance credentialing. So, if you have already graduated, already gotten your license, or are about to, and you get a position in a traditional outpatient practice, you're going to run into a huge barrier, which I just spent about a month getting through, which is getting credentialed with different insurances. And you'll have to do this if you're opening your own practice or if you're just becoming a staff PT, another provider at an already established practice. So it's very hard to find information about this anywhere on the internet, but there are a couple of crucial steps you have to take to get the ball rolling on top of applying to individual insurance companies to get credentialed. And credentialing basically means that they verify that you are licensed, you're not a criminal, and then you're allowed to bill them. So depending on where you get your first position at, there may be someone who handles this for you, or you may have to do this all yourself. And so this episode is a quick guide on the different websites to go to and how to apply and get this done if you do happen to need to do this yourself. So the very first thing you're going to want to do, no matter where you're at in school or the license process right now, you can do this. You can go get your NPI number. You don't need your license. So your NPI number comes from a website called the National Plan and Provider Enumeration System. And the website is nppes.cms.hhs.gov. And you just put in some really basic information and you get this NPI number, which every other application will ask you about moving forward. As I said, you don't need your license to get this. It's a very straightforward and simple process, and then you really don't have to worry about it again. After that, everything else requires a license number. So you don't need your physical paper license, but if you live in a state where they're pretty on the ball, you'll usually have your license number a few days after you submit your transcripts from graduation, or if you're at a school where you graduate first, then they already have them, they just wait on your scores. So the first thing to do is apply for Medicare provider enrollment, and this is a website called PECOS, PECOS.cms.hhs.gov. And this is the federal government's one-stop shop for Medicare enrollment. So a lot of other private insurance plans have Medicare supplementary plans, and they will want your Medicare number before they credential you. So jump on to this website, PECOS, and apply. It took me about 3 weeks from start to finish to get my Medicare number. Once you have your Medicare number, you can apply for some of the other plans, but the other ones you'll have to wait and then go back, and that's the last thing they'll need from you is this Medicare number. So that's step 2, applying for your Medicare number. Step 3 is this website called CAQH ProView. So it's proview.chqh.org. And what this is a unified application site, basically. You'll create a profile and you'll approve a lot of the other insurance companies to pull your information from this. So you'll store a lot of your other important numbers here, like your NPI and Medicare number, and a lot of the bigger insurance groups will simply pull straight from this. Their application will be much more simplified because they rely on this database for the majority of their information. So get a CAQH application going, and then what you'll have to do is once it's fully complete, it takes a while, it's a pretty long application, you'll have to attest that it's all correct, and that means it's basically processing. And then what you'll start to get as you go along this process is a bunch of emails from these other insurance companies saying that they're pulling your information, and that means you did it right. So those are the first 3 big steps. And you'll get a CAQH number just like you'll get a Medicare number and an NPI number. After that, you'll want to go to the individual large insurance companies. So for this, check to see what your clinic is already accepting. Don't apply for anything that your clinic doesn't take. For whatever reason, they don't pay well, they don't cover the area, you just don't see a lot of their patients. So certainly don't waste your time if you don't have to. But I'm going to cover a lot of the big ones. There are some national ones, some regional ones, and some really specific individual state ones. So the first one I'll cover is Aetna, A-E-T-N-A. And a lot of these links are super long. So what I have is just an outline with hyperlinks in a Word document that I'll put in the show notes. So Aetna, A-E-T-N-A, has a Join the Network web page. So you'll apply to that. For all of these, you'll need your license number, so you'll have to have passed the board exam already. The next one is Cigna, C-I-G-N-A, and again, you'll need your license number. And for a lot of these too, I forgot to mention, if you're working at a clinic where you're not the owner, you'll need their tax identification number, or TIN. And if you're ever asked for your personal tax identification number, it's simply your social security number. So the tax identification number, or TIN, is basically the social security number of the business you work at. It's what they file taxes and payroll and stuff under with the government. So Cigna. Next is TRICARE. So TRICARE is the insurance plan that military members and spouses and their kids use. So mainly they use this on military bases, but if they're not near a military base, they're allowed to go to a private provider. In addition, spouses and kids can go to private providers while the service member is deployed or overseas. And finally, retirees, military retirees, also have TRICARE. So TRICARE is split into 3 regions, and on the outline I have it broken down. So the North region is subcontracted to a company called HealthNet, and they cover Connecticut, Delaware, Washington, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, except for Fort Campbell, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Missouri, only the St. Louis area, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. So if you are not in one of these states, obviously don't apply for the regions that you're not in. You just want to apply for the one region. Moving on, the South region is supplied by Humana Military. So that's Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, except the El Paso area, and Fort Campbell in Kentucky. And finally, the West region is Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Idaho, Iowa, except Rock Island Arsenal, Kansas, and these exceptions I'm naming off are military bases. Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, except the St. Louis area, because you'll remember that's covered in the North region. Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oregon, South Dakota, Texas, including El Paso, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. So whatever state you live in or region of a state, find out what your region you're in, north, south, or west, and then apply to that appropriate subcontractor. And like I said in the outline, I have it broken down by regions with the application for each region hyperlinked. Moving on, we have Humana, which is a private insurance. They pull a lot of their information straight from CAQH, so make sure your CAQH is completed before you apply to them. The website link is in the outline. And then there's HealthNet. So HealthNet is the military subcontractor for TRICARE North, but they also independently cover Arizona, California, Oregon, and Washington. So that link is also in the show notes. Molina Healthcare is a different healthcare group. So again, their registration page is in the outline. Anthem Blue Cross. So they cover a number of states. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Maine, Missouri, New Hampshire, Nevada, Ohio, Virginia, Wisconsin. So if you're one of those states, you'll want to apply to Anthem Blue Cross. And you'll want to apply to whatever Blue Cross is in your state as well. So for example, there's only Blue Cross Blue Shield here in Michigan, here where I am. So you would only apply, for example, to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan if you live in Michigan. And then finally, the last provider is the health insurance is called United Healthcare, but the health insurance plan side is called Optum Health. So it's called Optum Physical Health. So it's myoptumphysicalhealth.com. And what you need to do here is first submit a contact inquiry, and then you'll get back a e-sign document that's about 66 pages, and you'll fill it all in and then e-sign it, and that's how you'll send their application in. So you can't do it ahead of time. And again, that link is in the show notes. So from top to bottom, getting your MPI number, starting the Medicare credentialing process, filling out your CAQH combined application, and then going to the individual insurance plans that your clinic accepts or is looking to accept based on your region. So Aetna, Cigna, TRICARE, either North, South, or West, Humana, HealthNet, Molina, Anthem Blue Cross, United Healthcare / Optum Physical Health, and then whatever other Blue Cross might be present in your state. So I hope this was helpful. I know this was a struggle navigating this personally, and I wanted to share this information to make it a little bit easier on all of you out there. So just a little break from the normal study routine, and thanks for listening. As I said, the outline with all the links to the different applications, the PDFs, the online web applications, will be in the show notes, and that link will be in the show notes either on YouTube or however you're listening to this on the podcast. Thanks for listening.